Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gomansing. Topping our newscast tonight, union leaders are still waiting for word that the Department of Education is willing to go back to the table over the new proposed school calendar. Teachers have rejected the new changes that shorten the summer break, but it's a fix only the legislature can make. News 2's Erica Parsons has more.
On Monday, government officials warned teachers against planning any sick-outs this week, but all public schools are on break this week except for St. Croix Central High, and union leaders are more concerned with revisiting the restructured school calendar.
I think it's more important for us to get back to that business and deal with this.
Teachers in both districts have rejected the new calendar for 2014-2015 that starts the school year 2 weeks earlier.
Our members have wholeheartedly agreed that they would like this new calendar repealed. They made that motion at the general membership meeting.
But it's outside of the Department of Education's control since the change is part of the law. Governor DeYoung found fault with the bill and vetoed it, but it was overridden by the Senate. So in a statement, he urged teachers to adhere, saying, "We understand that there are concerns about the calendar, but the department must structure an annual school calendar that falls within the guidelines of the law, which is what has been proposed." Union leaders say the new calendar violates the terms under their 2011 to 2015 collective bargaining agreement, and though their attempts to have the calendar repealed failed, they won't stop trying.
We have tried to get that done through the Senate. It lost, for only 4 senators supported that, and if we need to continue to lobby to get that done, that is what we ought to do.
Teachers say starting the school year earlier not only shortens the summer break, it hurts their pockets, though officials have added 2 vacation weeks into the mix.
They need to pay for those days if they're not going to repeal the calendar, and that's where we stand on that.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
Now, Governor DeYoung also reminded teachers that the issue of the new calendar is not negotiable. The school year will begin on August 11th, with the first semester ending on December 23rd. Great news for the Virgin Islands Medical Assistance Program. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services has announced that the Virgin Islands is eligible to receive a 2.2% funding increase. News's Shanika Robinson has details.
The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, has notified the Department of Human Services that the Virgin Islands is eligible to receive a 2.2% funding increase to further expand the medical assistance program. The increased funding is a result of stipulations in the Affordable Care Act.
Under the Affordable Care Act, we were raised 55% federal, 45% local, and so that was a help, and now we're getting for the next 2 years this additional bump of 2.2% for everyone.
The federal medical assistant percentage of 2.2 percentage points is a temporary increase to 57.2% federal share, which will be applied through December 31st, 2015 to MAP expenses for eligible enrolled clients.
Unfortunately, that's only for 2 years, and that's what the law is unless it gets changed sometime before it's sunset, that after 2 years it will actually revert back to the 55%.
The Virgin Islands government is also eligible for enhanced match to cover Medicaid benefits to a new population comprising of non-pregnant, childless adults, including the homeless, who were not covered prior to the Affordable Care Act.
For those states that were willing to pick up the childless adults, the federal government said it would pay 100% of the cost for the first 3 years and then start declining to around 2019. It would be at 90% of the cost federal and 10% for the local state government. In that case, we're going to, by the year 2019, have parity with the states. And we see that as something that, we should be able to build on.
Shanika Robinson, News 2.
Also, the state plan amendment for new physicians' fees for services provided at both territory hospitals was approved by CMS on March 27, 2014. Well, last week, we reported the negative report of an external monitor on Golden Grove Prison's compliance with a settlement agreement between the Department of Justice and the territory. On Monday, the matter was brought before the court, and both the Corrections Bureau and the BOJ provided input on the prison system's progress. News2's April Knight has more.
The situation at Golden Grove was brought before the Virgin Islands District Court on Monday. The Bureau of Corrections, the U.S. Department of Justice, and a court-appointed monitor all helped draw a picture of the progress being made on the settlement agreement between the VI and the Department of Justice. Initially, the DOJ filed a motion for the court to order the Bureau of Corrections to perform additional measures to improve the prison's conditions. But on Saturday, they withdrew that motion. This is after the court monitor adopted an updated schedule detailing the implementation of changes that was submitted by the territory in mid-April. The court also inquired on the parties' progress in significant areas of the agreement. In a report by Monitor Kenneth Ray, safety and security topped the list, followed by medical and mental health care. Corrections officials also shared in Monday's court hearing some of the work they've done so far. According to BOC Director Julius Wilson, the Bureau of Corrections leadership is committed and looking forward to working with the Monitor and the DOJ through the process, and Wilson is confident that they can work within the allotted time frame. During Monday's hearing, it was clear, however, that the territory needs to focus and move fast on the areas that need changing at Golden Grove. To remain on top of the situation, the court concluded that the parties convene every 5 months for a report on the territory's progress. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
The final work plan for Golden Grove, which incorporates the negotiated changes, is due for submission to the district court judge next Friday, May 9th. An interagency enforcement operation aimed at curbing the transportation of both unlicensed guns and illegal drugs between the islands led to the arrest of 27-year-old Jamal Rivera. Rivera was detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents about 10 a.m. He arrived at the Cyril King Airport via Seabourn Airlines. A .45 caliber handgun was found in his bag. Rivera is charged with possession of an unlicensed firearm. A check of Rivera's criminal background revealed several charges against him, including reckless endangerment, third-degree burglary, and second-degree murder. The interception of the firearm today brings to 6 the number of illegal weapons confiscated since last week Friday. The confiscation of the 6 weapons has netted 3 arrests. The interagency enforcement operation is an effort of federal and local law enforcement agencies. Agency representatives met recently and agreed to execute a proactive law enforcement initiative during the carnival season. Meanwhile, police continue to investigate a shooting on the waterfront Sunday that left 3 men injured. While those men aren't being identified, hospital officials have confirmed that 1 man remains hospitalized in the ICU. He's in critical but stable condition. Another man was admitted, but he was treated and discharged. A 3rd man was treated and released the same day. Another man who reported being shot in a separate incident Monday in the Oswald Harris Court Housing Community was also treated for his injuries and released. In the wake of the successive shooting incidents in the past few days, Senator Kenneth Gittens is calling on the executive branch and law enforcement, saying there needs to be a plan of action for ensuring the safety and security of residents during the carnival festivities. According to Gittens, it's going to take a new strategy to combat violent crime.
Let us forget egos and do as we must for the sake of these islands, in order to prevent some of these senseless acts of violence in our community. Evidently, the tactics we are using currently are not working. Therefore, it is time to regroup and take decisive and aggressive actions that will send a clear message to the criminals and all those who want to wreak havoc on our community.
Meanwhile, the executive branch responded Tuesday to Senator Gittens' comments. Government House challenged Gittens to come forward, present his policies, and discuss in detail which tactics currently employed by the Virgin Islands Police Department are not working and which new strategies should be employed. According to Government House Communications Director John Griot, constant chatter has been heard from Gittens with absolutely no substance behind his statements, end quote. Griot added that Gittens' political rhetoric is not only pointless but uncalled for at a time when the territory should be working together. Governor DeYoung also said that he is satisfied with the operations plan of the police department to ensure the safety of residents and visitors during Carnival. Turning our attention stateside, Secretary of State John Kerry says NATO must continue to stand strong against Russian aggression in Ukraine. Kerry also called the situation in Ukraine a wake-up call for NATO allies after spending the last 2 decades attempting to forge stronger ties with Russia. Here's more.
The events in Ukraine are a wake-up call. Our European allies have spent more than 20 years with us, working to integrate Russia into the Euro-Atlantic community. It is not as if we really haven't bent over backwards to try to set a new course in the post-Cold War era. And so we've pursued serious bilateral engagement. We invited Russians to join organizations like the WTO, the NATO-Russia Council. But what Russia's actions in Ukraine tell us is that today, Putin's Russia is playing by a different set of rules. And through its occupation of Crimea and its subsequent destabilization of eastern Ukraine, Russia seeks to change the security landscape of Eastern and Central Europe.
Meanwhile, keeping our eye on the economy, here's the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all up. The Dow 86, Nasdaq 29, S&P 8. Coming up on News 2, our Carnival Corner. Who's performing at the Village tonight? We'll tell you. Remember, no drinking and driving as we continue to celebrate the Carnival festivities. Diageo is offering free rides to those who can use a lift. Details coming up. And it's time for our Carnival Corner. If you've been to the Carnival Village, you've probably already experienced the different village booths. Here are the Carnival Committee's top picks for best village booth. Booth number 5, owned by Ismay Fred, took a trophy as second runner-up. The first runner-up trophy went to booth number 1, owned by Neville Amy. Finally, the Rum and Rhythm booth number 16 took top honors as the best village booth with its Royal Palm theme and illustrations of the village honorees. Congratulations to all the Carnival booth winners. Now, if you're heading to the village tonight, here is your Village Entertainment lineup. It's the International Showcase featuring Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights, Miriam Cruz of Santo Domingo, Zenglin of Haiti, and Sherwin Winchester of Trinidad. Now, Wednesday, April 30th, it's Soulja, Imaginations, Triple K, and Red Hot Flames. Thursday, music is by Vio Reunion, Volume International with Claudette Peters, and Crossfire of Barbados. Now, the Preteen Tramp, here are all the activities continuing. The Preteen Tramp began at 6 p.m. from the Rothschild Francis Market Square this evening to the village. Then the seniors are out in full force. They are tramping from the Rothschild Francis Market Square to the village to some Quilbe music. Wednesday, April 30th, it's the long-awaited cultural fair. Charles and Joe Leonard's Flamboyant Garden, honoring the brothers, begins at 8 a.m. Now, Thursday, it's Rosa time or Juve, whichever one you want to call it. That's from 12:30 a.m., warm-up time. And then the action is scheduled to begin at 4 a.m. on Veterans Drive. Now, Friday, the Children's Parade, and Saturday, the Adults Parade, 10 a.m. both days. Fireworks that night at 9 p.m. over the harbor, but then the action continues at the village with the Last Lap Calypso Spectacular until 3 a.m. Now, effective Wednesday, April 30th through Saturday, May 3rd, taxi drivers and tour operators are advised that the taxi stand and Vendors Plaza will be closed. Absolutely no drop-offs or pickups will be permitted in the Vendors Plaza area, nor will any obstruction of the flow to traffic will be tolerated if there are cruise ships in port between Wednesday, April 30th through May 3rd. All taxi drop-offs and pickups in the town of Charlotte Amalie shall only be permitted on the taxi stand located at Guttetzgata, which is located at the Veterans Drive intersection between First Bank and Pizza Hut. Now, this carnival advisory is from the Virgin Islands Taxi Cab Commission. Now, Juve revelers can rest assured that the Safe Ride program is in effect once again for those who need it. For the 5th year, Diageo, USVI, Bellows International, the VI Taxi Cab Commission, and Taxis in Unity have teamed up to offer free rides after Juve. The shuttle starts running at 9 a.m. and operates until the streets are reopened to the public. The bus route runs from Wheatley Center to Tutu to Smith Bay and from Havenside to Pavoni to Nara, making stops along the bus line. A voucher must be obtained ahead of time from the volunteers who will be wearing bright red along the Juve route, and you can find them at the tent as well at the end of the Juve route. The Department of Human Services invites senior citizens aged 65 and older to enjoy the Children's and Adult Carnival Parade from the viewing stand, which is located at the southern entrance of the Franklin D. Roosevelt Veterans Memorial Park. Seating is based on availability and limited only to senior citizens. All seniors will be registered before being seated. Valid identification is required, as well as information for an emergency contact person. Human Services staff will be available to serve light refreshments. Full cooperation of all seniors and their family is greatly appreciated. Now, the governor authorized commissioners and agency heads to grant administrative leave to non-essential employees for Carnival. And these are the dates, just in case you didn't have them. St. Thomas, St. John only, Wednesday, April 30th, 2014, which is the Food, Arts, and Crafts Fair Day from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Thursday, May 1st, the morning of Juve from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Territory-wide, Friday, May 2nd for the Children's Parade. That's from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, the leave does not apply to essential employees or those on a regular or rotating shift, nor does it apply to employees of the Department of Education who may be required to work in order to make up for instructional days lost. Commissioner of Finance Angel Dawson Jr. informs Virgin Islands government employees that pay cycle 15, which was scheduled to be paid on Thursday, May 1st, 2014, will instead be paid on Wednesday, April 30th. He said this change accommodates the governor's proclamation granting administrative leave for Juve in the St. Thomas St. John district on Thursday. Additionally, this change means that a third payday will fall in the month of April instead of May. Many of the usual deductions for employee loans, insurance, etc. will not be taken, and this should result in a larger net paid for many of our employees, he says, to a festive food fair day and carnival celebration. Now, be sure to tune in to NEWS2 on Thursday, May 1st for our Carnival 2014 NEWS2 special. We look back at some of this year's events leading up to the grand finale at 7 p.m. and midnight. On Friday, another special will preempt our newscast. Plus, don't forget live coverage of the Children's Parade on May 2nd and the Adults Parade on May 3rd. We are happy to announce CBS TV2 will be streaming both the Children's and Adults Parade. The link to the website is posted right there on your screen. We've also posted a link you can click right on our NEWS2 Facebook page. Be sure to stick around. Your NEWS2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.